What is up? And welcome to a special episode for the Pop Culture Jungle. What?
None.
We are here with Justin.
I'm here. Hello.
We are going to do a full, honest review. We did just get done watching. We came back. We had a snack first, so we didn't technically just get done. I'm sorry. We're going to start off spoiler free, and we'll let you know when we're going to get the spoilers. Overall thought.
It's all right.
It was okay. Right. In the grand scheme of things of all the Marvel movies, where would you put it at?
It's higher than the bottom. It's higher than the bottom.
Okay.
It's tight.
Plot strength.
I mean, it's not the worst.
To me, it's a bit weak. Like we have debated this. We have been discussing this. It's not a great, well-written story. There are elements of what seemed like a good story, and this one, there are pieces that are going to be important later. But as we both kind of agreed to, we can see where they were where they need to get to for the next movie and where they were trying to get to in this movie. They wrote all of that, and that all feels flushed out. They don't know how to get to that, so they just kind of make it as quick of a jump as they can to get there, which unfortunately does hurt it in this case.
Yep.
Am I just going to get like 2-3 word answers out of you for this review?
Yeah. It's like
Anthony Mackie, I think did a good job.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
He did a good job. His biggest problem has nothing to do with him. It was just the writing was poor.
It feels like his writing was not that great, but he did the best he could with what he had.
Yeah. For just being a guy. We'll get into that later. I'm trying to think how to go forward spoiler free.
I mean, we can give our score now.
We could give our score now.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to go forward, because you're the higher end than I am.
I'm the higher end. I'll give it a 3. It's all right. It's a serviceable MCU movie.
I give it a 2, and it barely made it into a 2 category, but there are parts that pulled it into a 2.
Average rating of 2.5.
We know the public knowledge is Harrison Ford is in the movie.
Yeah.
Thoughts on his role? Thought on his portrayal of the role?
He was okay.
Thought of his acting?
I feel like the first and the second act were like really good, and then the third act, he was just there.
There are parts though in the first and second act that it definitely feels like he's just there. Now, officially, according to Marvel, they only went back for 1 reshoot. We've seen other things that state otherwise, and it looks otherwise because there are, in my opinion, a lot of shots in this movie that feel and look reshot. Your thoughts?
I mean, I wasn't really looking for him.
I wasn't looking for them. They just stood out to me.
Didn't really feel it. I mean, like plot-wise, it feels like there's a lot of rewrites and reshots, but when I'm just looking at it, no, I wouldn't say so.
Okay. Out of the Cap movies, there's 4 of them now, technically.
What are we rating them as?
Put them in order. Best to the worst.
Like overall or as Captain America movies?
As Captain America movies.
As Captain America movies, this ranks 3rd in my opinion. Yeah, maybe 2nd.
Well, we'll go in order. What's number 1?
I guess the first. Because it's first. Oh, you know what? Oh. I just thought about it. We haven't really gotten I'm not gonna get into that. I guess the Winter Soldier, then this, then Civil War as a Captain America movie.
Yeah, that's my order.
Because don't get me wrong, I love Civil War. It's not a Captain America movie.
It's not a Captain America movie. That movie is so focused. That is a Iron Man and Bucky movie. Yeah, that is straightforward. What is with Captain America there because he knows both of them.
Yep.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Legitimately, everybody else there knows them too. So, we're gonna move into spoiler ground because I don't know how else to discuss spoiler ground.
Yep.
Well, actually, hold on. Before we go to spoiler ground, there is one little how much were the tickets? You bought these ones?
I don't remember. I bought them like a month ago.
They were like, well, how much are
$18 probably. 18 each.
Let's look at Harkins theaters, home. I just need to find movie ticket price. Our theater was pretty empty.
It was more full than it was on Tuesday.
It was more full than it was on Tuesday.
Okay. Theater etiquette real fast while George looks this up. If there are 2 seats purchased in the theater and you're going with your partner, where would you buy your tickets, George?
Right next to the
other two people. Oh my god.
Where else would you do it?
I was walking down the aisle. I was like, oh, we'll probably be in the middle of them, and they were right next to us. And I was like, what the hell?
$19. Okay.
19?
For Harkins, yes.
Oh my god.
So, for $19 a person, a family of 4. Okay, so realistically, $80 before snacks. Is this movie worth it?
If your family really likes Marvel, yeah.
I think I'm almost on the other end because it was okay. It wasn't,
and like this isn't a setup movie either.
No, like you could skip this movie.
You could skip this movie.
Legitimately, whatever is important, which we're going to go over in this movie,
is going to be explained in 5 minutes.
It's got to be recapped in 5 minutes in the next movie, just like the Marvels, because again, they're both going to be too big of setups, and there's not enough happening in this. I don't think it's going to do well enough.
Yeah. Versus like Fantastic Four.
Fantastic Four, I think, is going to be a one to not miss.
Yeah.
Like, even though I'm not necessarily crazy about the casting, to me, that's going to be such an important movie, especially with Doomsday on the horizon. That one's going to be one that we absolutely have to see. This one, $80 before snacks, which means you're a family of 4, you're spending at least $100 to go see. I'm passing.
Again, if your family really likes Marvel, I can justify the $80. But I understand why you wouldn't.
Yeah.
I would because it's me. But
and again, you and I will go through and we watch movies, even if it's going to torture us, just because that's what we do, because we come here to review it.
Because I hate you, yeah.
Yeah,
making me watch slop.
And we haven't seen the worst of it to come.
I know.
It's the mirror's on the wall.
The mirror's on the wall.
Okay, so now we're gonna move into spoiler territory. So we'll give a count of 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. At this point, if you're still around, you're okay with spoilers, or you've seen it. If you have seen it, please let us know in the comments what you think. Because
please keep your responses spoiler free, though, in regards to those that haven't seen the movie yet and want to remain spoiler free.
Yeah, because again, we're just 2 dudes chatting it up. We're both idiots.
Yeah.
How much our opinion actually matters? Go for it. Let's hear the synopsis in the movie.
So basically, it's a spy thriller that you're trying to figure out why the Serpent Society was buying this package in Mexico. How did I get to Mexico?
Yes.
Who was the buyer?
Finish your synopsis, and then we'll go back to this.
And they recover the package, take it back to the U.S. Then they're given a invitation to the White House as like a special honor for doing so, because that package is saving the treaty between India, France, Japan, and the U.S. for Celestial Island. And during that conference, Isaiah Bradley, the one guy that was experimented on during Falcon and the Winter Soldier, pulls an assassination attempt on the president, you come to find out that he was being subliminally mind controlled by the leader. That guy from the 2008 film, Incredible Hulk.
Wait,
Wow.
Is he in that movie?
Yeah, he's in the movie. That footage of the college is from that movie.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. That's something I didn't piece together.
Again, I'm so glad I rewatched this movie like last year. This is a Hulk sequel.
This is a Hulk sequel.
More than a Cap sequel.
Exactly.
It's actually insane. And then they're just trying to do that, and then when they finally get to the end and Samuel Stearns gets captured, Harrison Ford is the Red Hulk.
Something that's been spoiled continuously.
If you saw any of the marketing, you would know.
If you've seen the thumbnail, you've known. Because everybody's known this.
And that's the third act. There is nothing bigger than that.
No. So, yeah, we're going to go back down to the beginning. So, we start off, again, trying to get the package, or which we find out later on is
raw adamantium.
I knew what it was because I knew...
Because they spoiled it?
Yeah. But I legitimately sat there thinking, as if I was a normie, if I did not know anything about the movie, just came to come see a Anthony Mackie Harrison Ford movie, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sitting there, I'm like, why do I care? What?
Well, they laid it out for you. He was giving that whole presentation of why you care.
No, that's later on. Like, we start the movie.
Are you talking about the package?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, why do I care?
Yeah.
Like, why do I care to come after this package?
Yeah.
Like, they keep telling Cap that, you know,
the package is more important than the hostages.
And I'm like,
all that.
What? Like, no, you save the hostages. Like, it doesn't matter which Cap we're talking about, either Anthony Mackie or Chris Evans. They both always have shown in any of their footage, their priority always is hostages and civilian life, which it should be. So that was already a weird start off to me. There's a lot that they expect you to just know or go with until they decide to explain it later. This movie feels out of order. There are scenes that feel out of order in this movie.
I disagree with that. But...
Well, go for it.
I don't. What are your examples?
Well, because again, like we just immediately start into the action of going after the package, which we have no idea why. We have no idea what it is. We have no idea why it's so important that we'd rather sacrifice life for. We have no idea who these guys are until all of a sudden the Serpent Society.
The way I understood that was it felt like there are scenes that are placed out of order.
Yes.
I disagree with that. It's more so you learn character motivations as you go through the film instead of them being laid out in front of you.
We learn motivations for things after it's already happened. We learned why it was important to do something later on.
I'll give you that.
Like,
yeah.
I bashed through the door. I came and grabbed something.
Yeah.
Cool. Why? 5-10 minutes later, this is why we did that.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't care about that scene anymore. We're gone. We've moved past there.
Yeah.
That is, to me, out of order. That is not good storytelling, especially if I'm looking at a normie mind. You and I know everything is set up for a reason.
Yeah.
But if we took Senior, he'd be sitting there, and within the first 2 minutes, he'd be bumping me. What's going on? Why? Because he legitimately would be confused, which is a justified complaint.
Yeah.
The Serpent Society.
Underwhelming.
Extremely.
I was extremely underwhelmed.
Like, legitimately, they made up of like how big and like threatening this was going to be. They were defeated within 2 minutes.
Yeah.
The leader escapes. He's defeated within 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So again, one of these big groups that we're supposed to be setting up. And I think, don't we get a little bit of their setup in
entirely new.
They're entirely new. That's right. It was the what was it in in Falcon and the Winter Soldier? It was
Flag Smashers.
Flag Smashers. That's what
Which
they were.
is another weird adaptation, but I'm not going to get into that because it's a story for a different day.
Yeah. If you haven't seen the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, a lot of this movie doesn't mean much to you.
I mean, not really. It just sets up Cap. You don't need to see that movie. Oh wait, Isaiah Bradley.
You don't understand.
You need to know about Isaiah Bradley. Never mind.
You don't understand about where he came from, which means you don't understand why the base is important.
Yeah,
like it. If you don't see that, you aren't set up for this. So you need that, which
they give you the baseline.
Yeah,
they give you the baseline.
They give you the 2-minute recap, which every Marvel movie at the moment has to do.
Mm-hmm. It's better than nothing.
It's better than nothing. I don't like. I get why this is the way it is. I don't like that that the president in the movie immediately throws the original super soldier
Isaiah Bradley
and the 2 other gunmen straight into prison and immediately puts them up for death charges and says that
I thought that was extreme.
I was like
death penalty cases. Oh my god.
I was like, okay, we know something else is up. Like it makes it clear that all of these guys are not mentally there during the whole scene of it, which is good because they're taking shots at what is this universe's president.
Yeah.
But at the same time, are we jumping straight to an extreme except for the fact of I'm like, oh,
and being Ross, yeah.
Cool. So we now know that Ross is involved in the big villain side.
Yeah.
Again, we're in a spoiler section, so it's not a spoiler, but I'm like, oh, it's legitimately every other CIA spy or FBI movie that as soon as they turn against, who seem to be up to this point not a bad guy, you're like, oh, you're the bad guy.
Yeah.
Cool. There's a lot of writing in this I don't feel was very inspired. It was just like, let's go watch spy movies and see how we can just incorporate it in.
Yeah, I can see that.
And for being a spy movie, there's not a lot of spy scenes.
There's not a lot of spy things.
It's such a weird combination of thoughts.
Yeah.
I've been talking a lot. Go for it.
Where to next?
A lot doesn't happen in the middle of Act 2.
Act 2 is like the Japan fight, right?
Yeah, so going into Act 2, we have gone to
Isaiah Bradley's in jail.
We've gone to the Camp Echo.
Oh yeah, the leader reveal.
Where we see the reveal of the leader, yes. He looks awful.
He looks ugly.
In
like a good and a bad way.
Like if you worked on the creature shop that designed the character sculpt and such, there are good things about the sculpt.
Yeah.
But for the leader,
it does not tell me the scream. I'm also like comic side now, so like,
yeah, but I think anybody else would be like looking at this and going like,
"Ooh,
why?"
I mean, like that was the point. Though was ooh.
We find out he's the one who's been leading it all. He won't necessarily say why. And he was the quote unquote buyer for the Servant Society. So cool. Good thing that the new Falcon, is a tech genius and can go ahead and hack any computer immediately.
Well, that was shown in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. This is the leader in the comics. That's another one of his designs.
Yeah.
So maybe it is kind of comic accurate, but he does not look like this in the movie.
No,
he doesn't look like this. So I'm curious. Yeah, the merch doesn't match the movie at all. Yeah, I'm curious as to see what the original movie was.
Yeah. So we're back to Act 2, Japan fight.
So Ross flies to Japan to discuss with him in person the treaty.
I feel bad for Anthony Mackie. It's not his fault at all. People aren't ready. So I think he did a good job in the role. To me, the biggest problem is the writing.
Yeah.
I think the writing was the issue with this movie.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
That's not his fault at all.
No. Again,
he's doing great.
Yeah. He has good. Out of all the actors in this, I would say straightforward, he probably had the best acting chops, the best acting performance.
Yeah.
And I hate to say it, but I would put probably Harrison Ford at the bottom.
Oh yeah.
And, I love Harrison Ford as an actor, and like Han Solo is probably one of my favorite roles of his. That or where he plays the president in Air Force One. I love that movie.
Mm-hmm.
This was not a good role for him.
Yeah, he goes to Japan to discuss the treaty, and Japan's like, well, my intelligence found out that you paid for the Serpent Society to go steal the adamantium and then give it back to us? ? And Ross is like, well, you guys are idiots then. And he leaves. And then Japan takes their navy and goes to Celestial Island. And then they start. And then
this whole plot thread was so weak.
The U.S. scrambles jets. For some reason, there's already jets in the air.
Yeah,
and the leader's like, and he takes over the jet people, and they start shooting on the Japan ships.
Yeah, this whole plot thread was incredibly weak.
Yeah,
like first off, so Ross has become president at this point, and decides when he's being presented evidence to that there may be someone going behind him in the government and doing something, and he just laughs at the leader of the Japanese, like, how did you ever make it then to be president besides plot armor?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, we both hit it at the same time.
No,
I don't think so. I think if they hit 250, they'll be fine.
No, it's gonna be a loss.
You think so?
Again, let's just go back to what Marvel has said, that it was a 180 price point. We have to then take at least half of that in the marketing.
Yeah.
So that would bring us to 230, and that's before we do any of the cuts to the theaters.
Yeah.
Which means they've lost money.
Okay. I think if they hit 300, they'll be fine. 300, they're fine.
I think it's going to barely break even at 3.
Yeah. I think it's going to break even. I think it's going to break even. That's
again, if they did not do any of the reshoots.
Because, public consensus, people I've just spoken to, not online, they're pretty excited for the film. They're excited to go see it. And I'm like, I think it's going to be okay. And they're like, yeah, me too. They're excited to go see it. I think people are excited to see this film. And I think that's a good thing.
I agree. Again, as I put it on here plenty of times, and I put it to you, I am a Captain America fan. Again, this is sticking with the comics. The comics does have Falcon in different arcs take over.
Right now, there are 2 Captain Americas.
Correct. I am all for I was all for the idea of a new Captain America movie. It's the trailers and such coming into this that I had admitted that this is not going to be a good movie. I hope for a great Captain America movie. Again, my favorite hero. But it just felt like the way some of the shots were looking, the way the acting was being portrayed in the trailers, some of the choicing of it, like, again, when they said Harrison Ford coming back into a cat movie, you're just like a quick little side roll. We're like, we're not going to need you that much, right? Nicest thing, and be nice to the guy because, he's done great, but it's been a while since he had a very successful movie. And we got more and more looks of this, and at that point, I was hoping for a great movie, but I expected a okay movie. Again, in case you weren't at the beginning, Justin did give it a 3. I gave it a 2. It is a okay movie. Rotten Tomatoes, last time I saw, I haven't looked recently, critic score was 51%.
I'm curious to see what audience score is now.
Well, yesterday, audience score was 74, but there were a lot of unverified 5 stars. So I don't like the audience score anymore because it used to be a little bit harder to get a good review in there, an honest review in there. Now everybody can just throw whatever on the audience side.
How do you tell what's unverified?
You open up the reviews and you start reading through them, and it says verified or unverified.
Okay. So now 51 critics and a 79 audience. So it went up audience.
Yeah. So again, I don't know.
Unverified. unverified 1 star, unverified half star.
Yeah.
So it's on both sides. Verified.
Correct. I don't like the audience score because again, it's too hard to tell
Verified.
what is verified or not.
I'm seeing a lot of
but
3 to 5.
3 to 5, which again puts us about where we're at.
Yeah.
You and I keep doing that. Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four first steps going to be a moderate success, 500 700.
Kevin's my kind of man.
I don't know
stay hyping up Fantastic Four, George.
Okay. I will agree on the Fantastic Four front.
I'm so excited for that movie.
I'm going to disagree on the Thunderbolts.
Yeah,
I don't think it's going to
I think it's going to break even.
I'm hoping for Thunderbolts, what we're going to see is that they did not do reshoots and they kept in budget. If they did that, it's going to make money.
Yeah.
It's not going to do well. It's not going to be an Avengers movie.
Yeah.
It's going to do fine.
Yeah.
Which is all it needs to do.
Yeah.
These are all just side characters that they decided to reuse.
Yeah. Except for Bucky at this point, I think.
Yeah.
I think Bucky is a main character at this point.
Bucky's what's bringing the people to the seats. That's what they're counting on.
Not for me. Red Guardian for me. And Sentry. Oh my god, I'm so excited to see Sentry. And John Walker.
Fantastic Four. I think the movie's going to do well. I'm still not exactly happy about some of the casting.
That's just your opinion.
That is my opinion. We do have our thoughts on the trailer of that and our complaints with it.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it's here on the channel.
Just look up on the channel Fantastic Four.
Yeah, it's a
Sure it's the first thing.
The thumbnail is a Fantastic Four picture.
Like the Fantastic Four.
No, again, I think the biggest problem we see going on with this is just poor writing. And I'm hoping, knowing where we're going and knowing who has come back as directors and such, and that a lot of the older writing teams were brought back on with them, that maybe we're going to get some good writing.
Do we think Superman's going to make a profit?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Name alone, I think, is going to get butts and seats.
Yeah.
And then that movie, I think, was filmed on the cheap, too.
That movie was, as far as I remember when we looked at it, was actually being done. It was still in the 100 and something million,
but it's still relatively cheap.
Relatively cheap, and it kept its timeline and such. And to me, it looks fantastic, and it looks like a great setup for the new DC universe. And if you're a DC fan, which we're not big DC fans, but at least I'll call myself a fan of DC, like not a big one. I think it's going to do well. I think it's going to do very well. Is it going to be the biggest? Because that's this year, yeah.
That is this year.
Is it going to be the biggest blockbuster of the year?
Soups?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think Fantastic Four, dude. I know I'm like eating up the copium right now, the hopium, but like it could happen, George.
Honestly,
it's the same slot as Deadpool. So,
honestly, you want to know what's sad? I think I know what's probably going to do the best in sales this year and the best in profit this year.
What?
I'll give you 3 guesses. Thinking about whatever movies we know coming out.
Don't say that word.
Which one?
Don't say what I think you're going to say.
Which one do you think I'm going to say?
Piss me off.
Which one?
Is it going to piss me off?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Oh, then I don't know.
What were you going to guess?
Snow White?
No. No. That's going to be the biggest flop of the year.
I don't know what.
I think it's going to go to Lilo and Stitch.
That's possible.
Because it's a family movie, so everybody's going to be okay going and seeing it. The trailers we've seen of it looks correct for the character. We've heard nothing weird about any of the marketing, nothing weird about the changes, because the director said he's not going to change anything. And you got people of my age who would have kids at this point who all remember seeing it in theaters and now want to go back and see it.
Yeah.
I think Lilo and Stitch is going to be the big blockbuster of the year. I think Superman and Fantastic Four are going to be right there behind it, but I think that's what's going to win it.
We got a good summer coming up.
We have a pretty solid summer.
We have a good summer coming up, and I haven't said that in a while about movies. We got a good summer coming up. Where were we? Act 2. Yada, yada, yada.
Very weak storyline.
Danny Ramirez, as great as he is acting, is written out.
Which I'm
because
like,
you can't tag team a Hulk. It's a Captain America movie, not a Falcon movie, George.
But he was so good in the role.
He's so good.
I am so happy with the actor choice, the portrayal of the character, how he's written out, the jokes, the chemistry between the two of them. It worked so well. And then we decided to
blow him up.
To me, that was a mistake. That was a mistake.
Oh yeah, if it was them two against the Hulk, I think that would have been a far more enjoyable fight.
Yeah. That being said, since you mentioned the word fight and made me think of it, my biggest complaint in the movie, besides the writing being as poor as it is, these fight scenes are shot so poorly.
Except for the Hulk fight.
Except for the Hulk fight. The Hulk fight is pretty good, but most of these scenes, we get to the cut and, I go and punch, and by the time my fist connects, his face is already turned because he's already been hit. Marcy's will bounce back with Daredevil board again. We're going to start doing those on the weekly when those go live next month. Very concerned for Wonder Woman and Ironheart.
Wonder Man and Ironheart. We know nothing about those. They're done filming.
I remember that they were working on Ironheart. I never knew anything about Wonder Man.
They've delayed Ironheart so many times that I don't even know what to expect anymore.
It's
Wonder Man, I don't even know, man.
I don't even know who. I'm a Marvel fan. I don't even know who Wonder Man is.
I don't know, man. He's a West Coast Avengers thing.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll do my research.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But, the fight scenes in this, I felt like I was watching, no kid, okay? I'm not even going to be, over the top on this. I felt like I was watching, a high school, theater department. It was that bad of action fight scenes.
Oh, that's funny. Except for when they throw the shield. Then it's too fast to you track.
And it looks like rubber.
Yeah.
And anytime they moved the shield, they had magnetic sound effects.
They always do.
No, even just shifting it onto the hood.
Yes, they always have.
I'm just well,
they've always have.
In the first one, they don't.
Yeah, because it's the first one.
And it actually is done well.
Every other time that the shield is on screen, it makes that noise.
And that bugs the living daylight out of me. I was like, what? Why does it sound like the shield is moving fast as we're slowly walking it across the screen? It's not moving fast. It's not even moving. But yeah, the CGI is rough in this movie.
It's all right. It's serviceable.
The CGI on Hulk is all right. And
oh my god, no, it's good on him.
But when it comes to any of the other CGI, it's not that good.
It's okay.
I think
serviceable.
I think there's a scene. When it comes out, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna watch it more, the scenes with the shield, and go slower by frame. If I caught it right, I think there's actually a scene where it clipped through the wall because of them going ahead and trying to make it look like it bounced. And I'm like, you're not supposed to do that.
Okay, but if it makes it look more fluid.
No, I think it was just a miss of a. I think they just missed that section.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about, but yeah. Sure.
His superpower, his Wakandan suit.
Okay, leading up to this movie, the biggest joke about all the marketing and the posters was he's just a regular guy. If he blocks a punch from the Hulk, he's just going to go flying. You know what the first thing that happens in their fight? He goes flying, and I literally looked at George and I started laughing in the theater.
I will say, partway through that fight, I'm just like, I know that he's in, his Wakandan armor and such, and yes, that can take a big beating. However, even if we look at the Black Panther, whenever he gets hit by somebody, he's still physically getting hurt.
Yeah.
I'm like, this dude being punched by the Hulk over and over again, he would be more than a bit bruised and beat up at the end of this.
Okay, are we going to ignore the skydive at the very beginning of the movie where he just lands?
No, that was on my same thought. Or Falcon falling from, jet combat level straight into the ocean. And yeah, he's a little bruised and beat up because he got blown up also.
They have to restart his heart. They had to restart his heart, and he went into emergency surgery.
But, I mean, you got blown up. And you fell so far that you hitting that water would be like you hitting concrete.
Yeah.
And, yeah, they had to jumpstart his heart, but that's it? Really? I don't know. There are scenes that I could see where they were setting up to go ahead and get like that impactful emotional shot, or like how strong and mighty Captain America is, or whatnot, like him falling from the sky. And then I kept going back. I'm like, he's just a normal dude. Like, I don't know if any of you jumped out of a plane at, altitude and landed on your kneecap and your foot. You ain't getting back up. Your knee is gone at that point. Yeah. Though, I have to give them credit. There is a big positive. You know what the big positive is?
What?
The white suit is gone.
The white suit is gone. They do fix it. They get rid of the cowl part. It's gone.
Still not good looking.
It's all right. I think it's fine. Without the cowl, I think it's fine.
Now, do we get him updated for the parks, or do we keep the white suit for the parks?
I actually haven't looked yet.
The only thing I've seen was earlier this week when they showed the white suit.
Then probably not. He's probably just returning, which he didn't leave. So
because they only showed the white suit, but that's because they had not shown any of the blue suit yet.
Usually they post it the Friday.
It would have been yesterday.
It would have been yesterday. Let me see.
Okay.
It's the white suit with the cowl.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Does this make you excited for another Captain America movie in the future?
I mean, no, but like, it could be good. Could be good.
My problem is the last two Captain America movies we've had have not been Captain America movies. As we agreed, this is a Hulk sequel.
Yeah.
And if you watched The Elementals, you understood more what's going on, but let's be honest.
Eternals.
Eternals. Elementals was an animated movie. I'm sorry. Eternals, you understood more what's going on. I couldn't finish that movie. I was so bored.
You're only missing the Celestial Island. That's all you're missing.
Yeah, but then you start questioning what in the world is the Celestial Island.
Yeah, that's right.
Because I was like,
why didn't they give a Oh, I mean, I guess it's not really public knowledge. Okay.
No, like I was sitting there questioning what in the world this was. Like I understood because I know what the Celestials are, but I'm like, there's an island for them now? Like, when did this happen?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we know a lot of the other heroes and such. This is a Captain America movie. Okay. I get that. You have a Hulk rampaging in DC, and a lot of the other heroes and such live not too far from DC. So did everybody else just go, it's not my problem right now, and just ignore it?
I mean, it happens within the span of 15 minutes.
Does it? Because the light changes quite a bit.
It happens within the span of 15 minutes.
Because when they're fighting at the White House, it's a clear blue sky. When Cap gets back up, it's sunset. It's been at least an hour.
I don't think so.
Again, I think one of these shots was reshot because the lighting does not make any close to sense. Because how did it go from like 2:00 to sunset in the middle of their 15-minute fight?
I don't think it does, but mayhaps.
You have like the orangish sky behind Cap while he's standing there while you get that yellowish glow off him.
Where?
It's when him, our new Widow Spy, and all the guards come running up, and they're kind of doing that little bit upward shot on him while he's talking. While he's talking him down, it's all of a sudden.
I know what you're talking about now.
At least in that shot,
yeah,
it's sunset.
I know what you're talking about now.
Like, maybe that's a reshoot of a shot that they were trying to get a better portrayal of the line or whatnot. But I was like, wait, how legitimately? I was like, oh, when they lift it up and you get more of that orangish look up at the sky from his perspective. I'm like, oh, he was knocked out. He's been out for 40 minutes, maybe an hour.
Yeah, and
so they're both knocked out and they both are asleep. So that explains how the Hulk got calmed down, and that also then explains how
everybody the Hulk gets back up.
And then, I'm like, then it explains how everybody caught up to them at this point because they are legitimately on the opposite side of the city, and all of a sudden they have full military aid of everything.
Yeah,
and I'm like, cool, this makes sense. And then the Hulk starts standing. I'm like, So how long have we been here? Like, can he just sleep as Red Hulk for like 2 hours, or has it only been a few minutes? And then, as you put it, it seems like it's only been
like
a total of 15
Yeah.
minutes, but the sky has changed, and somehow they have full military aid already right there, ready to go. And I'm like, this timing does not make sense. This does not flow. I don't know. Again, there are a few gripes in it. I don't know if there's much more to say about it.
No. The Hulk fight's good.
The Hulk fight's good. The best part of the Hulk fight is while they're fighting on top of the White House.
There's a killer shot where it's like a pan out from like the street, the sidewalk, and there's like the fence in the White House, and like the Red Hulk's on top of it, and half the building's on fire. That shot goes incredibly hard.
Yes, but I also have kind of a complaint of it.
What?
His scale did not scale with the shot.
No. Because
we see his size when like they're doing the fight in the Rose Garden. And then we get a little bit farther shots, and you can see that they're adjusting the scale. And then that shot you're talking about, somebody forgot to like scale down the animation some. So he's legitimately as tall as the building, standing on top of it.
It's not as tall as the building.
It looked like a King Kong shot.
Yeah, a little bit. I don't care. It looks cool.
I'm like, wait, what?
Art over science, George. In that instant.
Yes.
For that shot.
But at the same time,
for that shot.
Somebody should go ahead and...
No, art over science. That shot looks so good.
The shot is good. Don't get me wrong.
I think that's what I'm going to remember the most from this movie is that shot alone.
That's okay. Like,
and Sam getting punched like halfway across the Rose Garden.
That scene is funny. I mean, the writing is so poor in this that like a good half of the movie, I already forgot a good half of the movie. That's why I asked you to do a synopsis, because I would not have gotten through it because I was struggling. I'm like, we started in, I think, Mexico, and then we were after the adamantium. I don't like. Well, how does this?
Yeah.
We spent a lot of time though on some of these scenes to just try to set up where we're like the shot of like Mexico to understand you're in Mexico, and then the shot of Baltimore, just like random shots around Baltimore to get us to Baltimore, and we're only in these shots for Baltimore for like 2 minutes,
yeah, and
then we do a whole other set of setup shots for Washington. I'm like,
yeah,
did you guys really not have enough footage to pad out both these sections all the way? That you're like, oh, we need the runtime a little bit longer. Let's just go buy some stock footage.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know. Movie's okay. Will I go see it again? Absolutely not.
No, probably not.
Will I watch on Disney Plus? I'll probably skip it.
When I get there on my recap, yeah.
Well, you're going through them all. I'll go back and watch the First Avenger. I love that movie. To me, that movie's fantastic. That movie's like that movie is a 5 out of 5 in my opinion. What
did I rate that movie?
What did Rotten Tomatoes give it?
First Avenger, I think it's like a 81.
Critics wise, 80, and popcorn meter is 75. So, yeah. I would give the first one a solid 5. To me, that movie is.
I give it a 4.5.
That movie is very well done. This one doesn't hold up well against it, which is sad. Because I also, all honesty, I was kind of hoping, since we were moving into the Sam Wilson cap, that this was going to be a setup movie, which I know they tried to make that into Winter Soldier, or the Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
But nobody watched it. And that story was all over the place also.
Mm-hmm.
That I was really hoping that what we were going to get in this one, we were going to get more of a like Cap coming into himself on this one. This being a good.
Well, that's what that whole series is about, but nobody really watched it, and it's all over the place. So yeah,
correct. But you get what I'm saying.
Yeah,
because like if we're talking normies, which is who, in my opinion is these movies should not be made for Marvel fans. They should be made for normies. Marvel fans are going to go and watch it. And as long as they're a good movie, Marvel fans are going to enjoy it. But the movies need to be taken as the aspect of what is a normie going to understand coming into it, and what does a normie need to know to see it. A normie does not sit through Captain Falcon and the Winter Soldier, because that show, frankly enough, unless you're actually into those characters, the first episode you're like, I don't care.
Yeah,
there's nothing for the pulling forward. I think that's the biggest flaw in this is I think we had done more of that idea of let's give him his first Avenger movie, like, because it's now he's gonna start the Avengers, and I'm like, I get you need to get there. I don't see mentally where you earn that thought, because he struggled with it, and I applauded at the beginning of that, where he's like, I don't know if the world's ready for another Avengers yet.
Yeah,
I thought that was a great choice because he's not there yet. I don't feel the movie got him there though.
I agree.
I feel like he got there because the plot said so.
Yeah,
and that's a downturn, and I'm gonna hold that against it because he doesn't really get to that point. Again, if we go back to how in even the comic series are for Cap in his first set, again, it usually is that World War II period. When he takes the serum, he becomes a super soldier, but he then just becomes a parade animal to take around. It's not until he goes ahead and decides to lay it all out to try to save his friend and then just try to save people.
Yeah.
And it's towards the end of that whole arc where he realizes that he is, a superhuman. That he can do this.
Yeah.
That's why, again, when they did the Captain America, they went back to that period and they call him the first Avenger. I'm like, this makes total sense. Because in a lot of series, he is the first Avenger. He is the one that formed them. And that works out very, very well. I don't think we've gotten there.
No, not yet.
And I was hoping that's what we're going to get this movie. Obviously, we weren't going back to World War II with Sam Wilson because that would make no sense.
Yeah.
Though the way some of these Marvel properties have been written lately, I guess they could have done whatever they wanted, and people would just be like, okay.
Yeah.
There wasn't enough conflict, in my opinion, to justify his growth and his change in his thought. Him seeing his friend be hurt and then contemplating the super serum. That scene was very well done. That scene, my biggest gripe with that scene was Bucky apparently being a congressman.
Yeah.
Besides that whole scene right there, it is a very well emotional shot. The lighting is fantastic because you can clearly see his friend in the light while they're working on him, and here he is standing in the shadow, doubting himself.
Yeah,
it is such
it's really good
lighting theory. It is so well thought. It's even a very quiet shot. Like there's nothing going on. And it's just you just sit with him for a minute on his own, and it's so well done. Bucky comes in to kind of break it, and they get their little start of their conversation for Bucky to tell him that no, he is the correct captain. And again, I loved this whole shot, this whole segment.
Yeah.
And then we go ahead and Bucky apparently is a congressman and leaves. And then I feel like we rushed away from this set of scenes. I wanted more of that. I wanted more of that time. It's like when he goes and talks to, I can't remember his name, the original super soldier,
Isaiah Bradley.
When he goes talks to him in prison, like they kind of start going down that like emotional conversation, and then it just abruptly ends.
Mm.
And I'm like, no, give us this character growth. Like, he needs to understand what his actions have brought him to. Yes, he doesn't understand why Isaiah went crazy, but he needs to understand that my choices have consequences. My choice to bring him back into the space is what got him here. Because that's a lot of what Cap does. Heck, straightforward, in the comic series, the Civil War side of it, Cap's biggest fight is he understands the consequences of people knowing who the supers are. He's okay taking on that responsibility, but he doesn't want everybody else to have to also. He also doesn't want to become a pawn for, the governments, which this Cap seems like when he's first talking about becoming starting the Avengers again, when he first gets introduced, he doesn't seem to have too big of a gripe about working for the president. Just I'd have to work for him. Like there isn't that conflict.
That's like the main disagreement about why he's not gung ho about it. Is that like what happens when they disagree?
Well, no, but do I make sense where I'm going?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to make that point. I don't know. I just wish we had gotten more of. I wish this movie would have gone ahead and said, "Hey, we know nobody watched Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We're gonna make a movie, and this is gonna be a better laid out story for the start of Sam Wilson as Cap."
Yeah.
Because again, he can still start as Cap in the movie. That's fine. But he's flawless. Like he makes a couple mistakes, but he's flawless from the get-go.
Yeah.
I'm like, how long then has this been since the other show?
2 years.
It has been 2 years since the show?
It's been 2 years.
In story timeline.
Yes.
Okay. Because that's kind of part of my problem is we don't get the time of him ever actually adapting to besides the little bit we get. Because he does, even at the end of that show, he's still not a good Cap.
No.
He's still struggling.
Yeah.
And if we go again, I hate that I'm having to compare it this way, but this is the only way to compare it. If we look at the first Avenger, we get a lot of that time where
he's not Cap until like basically the end.
He struggles the entire time. Like, frankly enough, the first time he tries to catch the shield, it like hits his hand, and he like because he's not used to it. He struggles to shoot a gun at one point, and like you don't get him to be that greater soldier that is who Cap's supposed to be until the end when he's had the entire time of him getting beat down. Heck, we get to see him fight Red Skull and get his get his butt handed to him. There we go. That's the clean way to word that.
Yeah.
That's my problem. Overall, it's an okay movie.
It's all right.
Any last gripes since I talked like most of this?
No.
Am I being too critical?
No, I don't think so. Not this time.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's unusual for Justin.
Yeah.
Normally you criticize my critics.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Made this part of the video. Be sure to like and subscribe. Also, be sure to check out the Pop Culture Jungle every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Also, this week, we're filming this. We'll be doing the final to Spider-Man.
I forgot!
Which means we're going to go ahead and we're going to talk about that. There also will be a super long cut of all of the those episodes as one long episode coming out on Thursday. That'll be the following morning. So be sure to check either of those out. And then in 2 weeks, we start Daredevil, which means you got to go watch Netflix and you got to grind.
Yeah.
Because
I don't want to.
It's going to get gory. It's going to get a little bit of a tense, and I'm all for it. That trailer looks fantastic, and I think that show is going to be fantastic. I think that show is going to do what realistically all the Disney Plus shows should do.
It's also the first one written as a television show.
Well, yes, but I think
written by TV writers.
But I think what that show is going to do is it's going to leave me wanting a movie.
Yeah,
and that's what any of these shows should have done.
Yeah,
like WandaVision. WandaVision set that up.
left me wanting a movie.
Like I wanted a Wanda movie.
We got a quarter of one.
Yeah, and we undid all story growth of the character, which is, I guess that's my biggest gripe with
it. Happens off screen, George.
My biggest gripe with all of Marvel writing at this point, we do character growth to undo it.
Yeah,
that's my biggest gripe. So, be sure to check those out. Until next time, see you later.
Bye.